Hi, everybody. It's time for our lunch break musings for the day. Again, not a particular question in mind, as opposed to just a feeling about over the weekend. We had President Barack Obama, who was in Pennsylvania, I think it was, for their governor race, supporting the Democratic governor. And I'm going blank on her name. She was a former fighter pilot. She was in Congress. She's got a law degree. She is more than adequate for the position. And she's a very progressive Democrat. And we need that. Um, you had Governor Newsom in California. They had a big event over the weekend, kind of a last push rally for Prop 50 there to be able to temporarily change the maps to improve the Democrats, to improve their chance to have more seats. And this is in response to Texas doing it to give Trump 5 more seats and do away with Democratic seats in Texas. And there's a lot of Texans that are not real happy about this. And you also had Vice President Kamala Harris showed up as well with Governor Newsom in California to show support for Prop 50. So that was really exciting to watch all three of their speeches. But I have to admit, God, I forgot how inspiring President Obama was when he turns it on and is just speaking from the heart. I mean, yeah, he's got speech writers. He, goes over it. He pretty much knows what he's going to say, but he doesn't just deliver this bland, dry speech. I mean, he turns it on and you feel his words. You feel what he's saying. And his intelligence and his humor and his wittiness really, really comes to light watching him again. And after the last, 10 years now, I guess it's been, dealing with the current occupant, it's it's so refreshing to listen to Obama. Oh my God, I was practically in tears just listening to him. So I think what I want to know is what I want to ask Spirit is are we going to be able to win this fight of getting seats, getting Democrats elected to their positions, getting more seats added to the states that are pushing for this in response to what Texas has done. And yeah, so let's just stick with that for now. So I think that's important. Okay, so what did we get? Okay, we started out, we've got the King of Swords. Now, King of Swords, that's truth. That's what that card stands for. So that's the truth of all of this coming to light. And I think that is something that we are so desperately, desperately searching for as a people in this country is truth to come to light again, for truth to be spoken again. And I feel like Spirit is trying to let us know truth is on the line, and it's up to you to do something about it. And then we pulled the Ten of Wands. Is that a Ten of Wands? Yeah, the Ten of Wands. That stands for burden, being overburdened, being weighed down. And I think a lot of people feel that way right now. They feel burdened. They feel like they are constantly being asked to take on more and more and more for less, taking on more work, but they don't get paid more money, um, taking on more burden of having to provide for their families, but they don't get any assistance from the organizations and the programs that are there to help them lift themselves up. And you don't see that. And so people are very burdened and just overwhelmed with everything, and they're tired of the chaos. Okay, and then I got, ooh, the King of Pentacles. Now, basically, this card is the card that I've always gotten in the past for the current occupant. And it's supposed to symbolize security, but he doesn't make us feel very secure. He doesn't provide that security for the people in this country. People feel insecure. They feel less safe. He's got his brown shirt goons running around the country in all these cities, just attacking Americans willy-nilly and throwing them into cars and driving off with them, and nobody knows what's happening. And it's scary. I mean, it's like you take your life in your hands just to walk to the corner store to get milk and bread for your kids, because you don't know if these goons are going to jump out and grab you and do away with you. You know, what if you got small children sitting at home waiting for mama to go run up to the store and get milk and bread so they can have something to eat, and she doesn't come back? Then what? They don't care about that. And so I really feel like, I almost feel like this should be reversed, upside down. Because that's how it comes across to me listening to Spirit, is that he's supposed to be providing security, and he's not. He's making us feel very insecure, very unsafe, just to go out our doors. And even that's not safe, because he sent his goons into places where they're kicking down doors and busting through windows just to grab people willy-nilly. Hell, they're grabbing children in the middle of the night and zip tying them together and sticking them in a van. I couldn't imagine something like that happening to me when I was 3, 4, 5 years old, and how that would traumatize me for the rest of my life. I mean, these kids are going to need so much psychological counseling as they grow older, just to deal with all of this nonsense. And it's all because of the current occupant, and it's his fault, and it all needs to be laid at his door. Okay, and then we drew the Two of Swords. That's talking about decisions needing to be made. That's coming up with these elections happening tomorrow. Our decisions need to be made. And it's up to the people. Oops, losing my balance here on the phone. It's up to the people to listen to what's happening, to gather their facts, and to make those hard decisions. They've got decisions to make. And the swords cards, the swords that are always depicted, especially with the Rider-Waite, and most other decks, if they use the emblem of the sword, copies what the Rider-Waite has. And I mean, when you look at these, that's not a single-edged sword. That's a double-edged sword. That means it cuts going in and out. So that's just pain on top of that decision. All right, next up we got the Seven of Swords. Now that's deceit, trickery, thievery. That's making a break for it. And I think this is describing the current occupant. I really feel like he is on the verge of making a run for it. He's going to be making a run for the border. Don't know where he's going to go. There are a lot of suppositions, depending on who you listen to, as to where they think he's going to go. I don't really care. As long as he's gone and he takes his goons with him, we can catch up with the lawbreakers in time. I mean, the Nuremberg trials showed that. Um, but it's important to recognize those that are trying to not just steal our money, but steal our security, steal our joy of life, steal our ability to go out and make a living. You know, how do you go out and make a living if you're terrified to leave your house for fear of being snatched off the street or having your car run off the road so these goons can grab you? I mean, you know. And these aren't criminals that they're grabbing. These are moms and dads, kids going to school, college students. These are just normal, everyday Americans that they're grabbing. And if they're willing to do this, what's the next step? What's he going to escalate it to? Having his goons out there shooting people willy-nilly? Is that going to happen? God, I hope not. But my fear is we may very well see that. All right, and then the last card for this set I drew was the Hanged Man. Now, with the Hanged Man, you're talking about kind of being in a holding position, in a waiting position. It can also be a stagnant position. And I think that needs to fall at the feet of the Democrats. They have been in this holding pattern since Obama got into office of playing by the rules and not pushing the limits, and oh no, we can't do that, we might upset somebody. And where has that gotten us? It's gotten us to this madness that we live in. It's time for them to make their decision and step out and do something, and to quit just hanging around doing nothing. That's not accomplishing anything. And so we need to start looking at our leadership, even on the Democratic side, and saying, okay, you know, if you're not willing to stand up and fight for me and fight for what's right, then you need to go, and we'll get somebody else in this position. That's the message that needs to be sent. As for those who support the Republican Party, if you have decency and morality in your thoughts and in your decisions, then it's time for you to look at these madmen and women who are behaving atrociously and very unpatriotically, and hold them to account and say, hey, if you can't do your job the way it's supposed to be done, then you got to go, and we're going to put somebody else in that seat. We have to remember that we, the people, we have the power. All right? That's what we need to remember. We have the power. The power rests in us. And we're only going to get what we put into it. We need to remember that we have the power, and we need to use it in whatever ways that it needs to be done. I need a facelift. Okay. Anyway, sorry. I looked down at myself and I went, oh wow, man, I got wrinkles. We need to take our power back. And we need to hold these people that we put into leadership, we need to hold them accountable. If they're not willing to legislate for our benefit, then they need to go. End of story. Done deal. You know, you're out. Hit the road, Jack. You know, I just heard that song, so I got that tune in my head. And I don't care what if it's a Democrat, if it's a Republican, if it's an independent, if they're not working and standing up for their constituents, for their constituents' betterment, and making their life better, and bringing prices down, and making things more fair, then they need to go. That's what it comes down to. It's time we take back our power. That we remember, I'm in charge. These people work for me, and they need to do what I want them to do, or I'm going to vote them out, and I'm going to put somebody in there that will do what I want them to do. I'm searching for that kernel of hope, and I really feel like it's going to really come to pass tomorrow. I think that these elections are going to really shake everybody up, because they are going to really push truth to power. And I think there are going to be more people than they ever counted on stepping up and stepping out and saying, no more, enough. We've had enough of the madness. Get your shit together or get the hell out of Dodge. And leave it at that. That's our hope. Right there. We have the power. It's time to use it. All right. Y'all have a great day. I'm going to eat the other half of my sandwich and enjoy this beautiful day. A little chilly, but not too bad. And we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.